Okay, so the entire crypto space had a dramatic sell-off overnight. So what happened and what should you be doing about it? This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything I mention in any of my videos. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. Today, we're going to be talking about the big sell-off in the crypto space today. Odds are you woke up today and you logged into your crypto account and you saw that your crypto, whatever it is probably down and it might be down quite a bit. And you're not sure what happened. You can't find any particular news. So in this video, we're going to talk about what happened and what you should be doing about it. So let's start by taking a look at what actually did happen. Okay, so here we are on CoinMarketCap, and if you look at the far right here, and if you look at these charts, so starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and all the way down, you can see the charts look pretty much exactly the same. They all had a big dramatic sell-off. Look at that. So it almost does not matter which crypto you are holding on to. Odds are that it's down on the day. Well, this can all be traced to one specific event that happened overnight. Now, before I tell you what that specific event is, context is important. Now, when I was a trading instructor, one of the phrases I like to use for my students was that the market seems to have a way of losing the most amount of money for the most number of people. And what I'm saying there is, there are times when everybody is bullish, everyone's feeling good, everyone's feeling confident, and then some exogenous event, word of the day, exogenous, some exogenous event comes along and pulls the rug out from under them and ruins their day, might even ruin their month. And it was always something that was a black swan event that nobody saw coming. And those events are usually caused by, one singular event. Now, every asset class has its own set of, bellwethers. Those are the generals. Those are the guys that set the tone for that asset class. In the case of the stock market, it would be like Apple Computer and Amazon and Walmart, right? So if any one of those big stocks have an outsized move, it can, the gravitational pull of that event could drag down everything in the stock market. Nothing particularly different happened at any one of those different, companies, different stocks. But the gravitational pull of that one big event by one of those generals affects the overall market. In the bond market, it's the 30-year bond and the 10-year bond. And in the case of the crypto space, it's Bitcoin, okay? Now, we have been in a crypto winter now for about 2.5 years, right? Now, this past year, Bitcoin had bottomed out and it started working its way back up. Now, Bitcoin is actually up about 150%, for the year. And that's because during the course of the year, there is a growing consensus that a Bitcoin ETF is going to finally be approved by the SEC. And that when that happens, a lot of institutional money is going to flow into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin is just going to fly. That is the overriding attitude. Since Bitcoin is the bellwether for the crypto market, that has lifted pretty much the entire crypto space. And most people out there right now are expecting this year to be the bull market of all bull markets in the crypto space. And that's going to be led by Bitcoin. And that enthusiasm is going to filter down to all of your altcoins, even your meme coins. But I have to tell you, when you start overhearing conversations between your cashier and the beggar at your grocery store talking about XRP, okay, that's not what you want to see. Everyone right now is starting to feel bullish about cryptos, and that makes the space vulnerable. Okay, and there was an event that happened overnight that kind of, popped the bubble a little bit. It kind of put the fly in the ointment, whatever metaphor you want to use, okay? It kind of ruined a lot of people's party, at least temporarily. So what was the event? What was the news report that kind of ruined everybody's day in the crypto space? So in all of my research today, it seems that everything is coming back to this one story. So these next two, tweets that I'm going to show you happened within hours of themselves during the course of the same day, really. And it started out by, speculating. Imagine in the same day, first they reported about Bitcoin ETF being approved in the next 2 days. Bitcoin moved to 45.9. And then after a few hours, it says, no, Bitcoin ETF will be rejected and Bitcoin will move to 44,004. So this outfit now expects the SEC to deny all issuers the creation of spot Bitcoin ETFs in January 2024. All right, so let's take a look at those two press releases, okay? So here's the first one. So you can see it's Tuesday, January 2nd. The headline is Bitcoin spot ETF approval imminent. Bitcoin to jump to $50,000. I'm sorry, I kind of cropped out the 50,000, but that's $50,000. So they're expecting Bitcoin to jump to $50,000 on the news. But then within a couple hours of that headline, this comes out, why the SEC will reject Bitcoin spot ETFs again. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe those headlines were written by two different authors and they didn't coordinate. They didn't know what the other one was going to say. And they had a big oops moment. But in effect, all of a sudden, everyone who was planning on this SEC approval now saying, hey, what, it's not going to happen? Okay, it kind of ruined the game plan for a lot of people. And that's what started the sell-off. Now, listen, I promise you that there's a lot of Bitcoin out there that's being held, by leverage. They're being held on margin. And so a lot of the selling, I am sure, was done by people who wanted to reduce their exposure just in case. And when you get that concentrated form of selling, this is what happens. Now, because the entire bull market right now is kind of built on the foundation of Bitcoin having a bull run, the single most powerful man in the crypto space right now is this guy. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say who he works for because you all know who he is. And I want to, the algorithm. I don't want to, upset the algorithm and have my, video shadow banned. But you know who I'm talking about, right? This man holds the keys to the treasury, so to speak. And this particular person is a corrupt individual, and he is an arm of the government. And the government does not like cryptos in general because cryptos, provide an alternative. They provide a competition to their own digital currency that they want to put out, which is not a true cryptocurrency, by the way. I've done videos on that before, but they don't want competition. They don't want you to be an alternative forms of currencies. They want you to be in the currency that they want you in. So remember, the government, when it comes to cryptocurrencies, is not your friend. They are your enemy. They do not want you to have access to alternative forms of currencies. Okay, so that's on the one hand. On the other hand, the same corrupt gentleman, he really works for BlackRock. Okay, and BlackRock, these are the guys who want that ETF. There are several other ETFs in the works too, right? But BlackRock is the big one. They're the big dog, in the game. And that is why I personally suspect that an ETF is going to be approved. Even if it's not this month, I think pretty soon it is going to be approved. Again, this is my opinion, okay? And a little fun fact for you. This is hot off the presses. Just in, SEC is holding meetings today with the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and CBOE to finalize comments on spot Bitcoin ETFs, reports Fox Business News. Okay, so that's what happened, and that is why it happened. Now let's talk about, what you should be doing right now. Now, there's no real way of knowing how this is going to play out. Until the news is finalized, the news is not finalized. We don't know how it's going to play out. And remember, it's never the news that's important. It's the reaction to the news. Now, for those of you who bought into Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency yesterday or recently, and then you wake up to this, right now your confidence is shaken and you're saying, oh, heck. I'll clean it up a little bit there for you. But for those of you who are waiting for an opportunity, hey, you might have just been given a gift, okay? A nice little entry point. Now, this is where I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful not to wander into, the world of financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube, kind of sharing my opinion and maybe giving you the benefit of my experience as a trader and helping you kind of navigate the emotional up and downs about being an investor in general and a trader specifically. So this is where it's very useful to take a step back and not act emotionally. Now, before you get into anything, whether it's a crypto or a stock or a bond or a commodity, you should always have a plan. You should say, first of all, you should have a reason for getting into the crypto, okay? There's a reason. And your reason should not be because you saw some guy on YouTube talking about it and you decide, okay, well, he looks like he knows what he's talking about, so I'll go ahead and buy it. That's not a good reason. Always do your own research. But once you decide what your reason is, then maybe write it down. You remind yourself why you are in that particular product. And then when you have days like this, if nothing has changed with that particular product, well, then your plan should not be affected. Now, if something material did change with whatever it is you're in, okay, then you have to have your plan B, right? Part of your plan is, well, what do I do in case this goes south? Where's my ouch point? Decide ahead of time what that is. So have a plan. Now, most events, like the one that happened overnight here, you have no control over. So don't focus on the things that you cannot control. You should only focus on the things that you can control, namely how much money are you committing, when do you get in, what's your target, and again, write that stuff down so that you have something to refer to in times like this, to improve your chances of success. Now, the sad fact is that most people do not bother to make a plan. They just buy something because they heard a guy on TV, or they saw a nice YouTube video that said and that little greed button was kind of triggered in them, and they got in, and that's it. That's the entirety of their plan. Okay, well, okay. When you do that, you are subject to emotion, and that's when you tend to make bad decisions. Remember, when you put your money into a crypto, a stock, a bond, you're not putting your money into any of those things. You are buying people. Remember, all markets are made up of human beings, and human beings are emotional creatures. That's how the market is never going to be a rational place. And of those three emotions that drive the market, fear, complacency, and greed, by far the most dominant emotion is fear. That's why things tend to go down much faster and further than they go up. That's just human nature. Now, if you're a trader or if you're an astute investor, you know how to take advantage of those. You want to think like a professional, not like an amateur. And that is easier said than done, because thinking about this kind of thing is a business. You want to think of it as a business, even though you're not a professional trader. You still want to adopt that mindset. Start thinking like the professionals. Think of it as a business. And that goes for when you're buying and when you're selling. And again, that goes back to having a plan. Write down the damn plan and stick to the plan. When you do that, just by doing that one simple act of writing down your plan, you're going to greatly improve your chances. At the very least, your angst is going to be in control. Now, I am of the mind that the crypto bull market is still intact, that this is a speed bump. This is temporary. Now, temporary is a relative term, right? The market could sell off more before it finds its bottom. However, maybe it'll find a bottom right in the next day or two and then and shoot up from here. And let me throw this out there for those of you who like conspiracies. Okay, what if this whole thing has been orchestrated? Because a lot of institutions, in the wake of Bitcoin ETF, they're going to be plowing into Bitcoin. And they need liquidity, and this could have been a manufactured sell-off so that they can get in at a decent price. Remember, the entire crypto space is tiny. It's a very small asset class. The entire crypto space, all in, is worth about $1.5 trillion. At its height, is worth $3 trillion. At its, and during the crypto winter there, it got down to the low of about 700 billion. Right now, I don't know, maybe somebody in the comment section, you could let me know what it really is now. I think it's around $1.5 trillion. That is tiny compared to the stock market or the forex market or the bond market. This is a pimple on an elephant's behind. Okay, this is a tiny asset class. Now, and there are pros and cons to that. The upside is that because this is such a small industry, it's very easy to push around both the upside and the downside, right? Now, downside is a liquidity issue, right? So when you have institutions who are working with, ungodly amounts of money that they have to put to work, trying to take a significant position in something like a Bitcoin means that they could move the market all by themselves if they try to buy too much. So they want to dip. They would like to see us off. I promise you that a lot of these institutions, they're watering at the mouth. They're loving this because, okay, this is a gift for them. They're looking at this as a chance to start putting their large amount of money to work. They're taking advantage of the sell-off. So, again, it's all about context, right? It's all about, thinking. So, look, there's no way of proving whether this is orchestrated or not. And again, it's just, but listen, this kind of thing is done by big banks and big institutions all the time. And again, since these are events that you cannot control, just focus on what you can control. And I'd also like to emphasize that it's always the second tier and tertiary tier, vehicles in that space that take the biggest percentage drop. What I mean by that is yes, Bitcoin, whereas Bitcoin might be down, 5 or 10%, the smaller altcoins, they're going to have bigger percentage moves because they're smaller coins. So whereas Bitcoin might set the tone, the actual, result of the move might be much more dramatic in the other coins. But this event is having a gravitational pull effect on the entire crypto space. So it almost does not matter which coin you're in, including the coin that I've been talking about lately called, Jesus coin. And by the way, I am going to be doing an update video pretty soon on Jesus coin. So for those of you who are in Jesus coin, make sure you hit that notification bell. But all cryptos have been affected by this. Yeah, so in the comment section below, let me know what you're thinking about this. Are you panicking? Are you throwing in the towel? Are you using this as a buying opportunity? Are you sitting on your hands? And if you wouldn't mind, could you support my channel by hitting the like button, the subscribe button if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I do future videos. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.